Hello and welcome to Two Trees Gaming. We've got a 1000 point battle report for you today. It's Louis' Morgul Knights against Aaron's Eastern Alliance of Easterlings and KHAND. We filmed this the day before the Throne of Schools tournament at Warhammer World, which is a tournament that prioritises theme and painting and sportsmanship as well as your game results. If you want to find out how well Louis and Aaron did, as well as myself in that, please do subscribe. We'll have a video on that soon. But for now, let's meet the armies. Aaron has allied Easterlings and KHAND together to give him an excellent all-round army. He has an Easterling phalanx of pikes that have high defence and a lot of attacks to bring to fights, but they can be easily surrounded if they're not well positioned. And that positioning will be key for Ratabi too, who leads the phalanx. Her Master of Battle 3+ means that if an enemy hero within 6 inches of her calls a heroic action, she may roll a dice and on the score of a 3+, call that same action for free. Against a cavalry army like Louis, that will be very useful. She's also a fearsome warrior with 3 wounds, 3 attacks and the ability to re-roll failed wounds against trapped opponents. Amdur is an excellent accompaniment to Ratabi. He can call a free heroic strike when he faces off against an enemy hero. If the enemy countercalls and is within 6 inches of Ratabi, she could get one for free. He also has 3 wounds, 3 attacks, defense 7 and recovers a point of might each time he kills an enemy hero, as well as being a banner for Easterlings. Both him and Ratabi are heroes of valour and so could be the leader of this legion, but Aaron's opted to use his Khandish king as his leader. He's on a horse and has a bow and counts as a banner. Most scenarios revolve around keeping your leader safe to deny the opposition victory points. The king is a really good cheap hero to do that with, and he can still influence the game from the back of the line with his banner and his bow. What's more is he's got 3 attacks and heroic strike should Aaron need it. He's leading 12 Khandish horsemen and 2 charioteers, all of whom have bows. The chariots are particularly deadly against Louis' terror causing cavalry, as they ignore the terror special rule and inflict 2 strength 4 hits on both the rider and the mount when they move into contact with them. Louis will be hoping that his armoured horses can protect him if he isn't able to outmaneuver them. The last 2 models in Aaron's force are a Dragon Knight, who's all offence with 3 attacks, no fate and the ability to recover might after killing heroes, and Khamul mounted on a fell beast. Aaron's done an excellent job with the conversion, although if you've listened to our podcast, you'll know that he copied my idea. He's a pretty terrifying opponent though. He has 12 will points and must give 1 up each turn he's in combat like every wraith, but he regains will every time he inflicts a wound on an enemy model. He can also spend a will point every turn to buff his fight, strength or attack value. It's a very well balanced army with lots of might, 5 heroic strikers, magic, a monster, plenty of archery and cavalry, and a good strong core of troops. Let's see what it's up against. Louis' army is much more specialised. It's based around the Nazgul riding out from Minas Morgul and even includes Shelob, who skulked down from her lair. His army is led by the Witch King, who has 3 might, 14 will and 3 fate. He's mounted on a horse and has the Crown of Morgul. The crown gives him 3 attacks and makes him one of the best spellcasters in the game. He should be able to disable an opposing hero or at least drain their will every turn. His chief lieutenant is the Dark Marshal, a good spellcasting wraith with 14 points of will and the ability to spend will points to become a 6-inch banner to warrior models for the rest of the turn. Louis' final wraith is a Khamul of his own, this time mounted on a horse. Unlike Aaron's, who's riding a fell beast, Louis will have to choose the right moments to boost his strength, fight or attacks to maximise his killing potential. He has 2 Black Numenorian Marshals, both converted, one from the Plastic Witch King, which I absolutely love. These guys are solid heroes with fight value 5, defense 7, strength 4, lancers and terror. Coupled with the -1 courage that Louis' raids provide, they should be able to deal some serious damage. The core of Louis' army is also built around terror, as it's 14 Morgul Knights, including a banner. They're fight value 4 and have lancers, and when they get the charge they can really hit hard, and the terror should help them be getting the charge more often than not. He has 3 Morgul Stalkers to raise his breakpoint, and they have the Stalk Unseen rule to prevent them being picked off by bows if they're obscured by terrain. But they do have 2 attacks each and so can hold their own. And Louis' monster is Shelob. She's fight value 7, strength 7, defense 7 and has 6 wounds but only 1 attack or 2 on the charge, and she has no might points. A good hurl from her though could really do some damage to Aaron's pike block or his Khandish contingent with his chariots and his cavalry, Aaron will be very wary of her. The scenario we'll be playing is Capture and Control, and we'll be fighting on a 5x4 board based on the Shire. Don't ask how they got here. In Capture and Control, you're trying to control objectives and deny them to the opposition. Place 5 objective markers on the board. 1 is placed in the centre of the board, the other 4 are placed halfway between the centre and the north, south, east and west board edges. Each objective starts the game as neutral. In the end phase of a turn, if one player has models touching an objective, it becomes under that team's control. If both players have models touching it, it returns to neutral. Players roll a dice for each of their warbands. On a 1 to 3, they must be deployed within 12 inches of the centre line of the board in your board half. On a 4 to 6, they may deploy anywhere in your half of the board, and no model may deploy within 1 inch of an enemy model. You score 2 victory points for each objective marker that is under your control at the end of the game, 1 victory point for causing 1 or more wounds on the enemy leader, and 1 victory point if the enemy force is broken. When one army is broken, roll a dice at the end of each turn. On a 1 or a 2, the game ends. If not, play continues and roll again at the end of the next turn. Aaron began deployment by putting down his lone Dragon Knight. Louis responded by deploying his Khamul and 3 Morgul Stalkers 7 inches away from him. That should mean Louis will get the charge there and may be able to catch the Dragon Knight out with some magic. Aaron drops Rutabi and her phalanx in the centre of the board next to the Dragon Knight, and then Louis drops another 1 model warband, his second Black Númenórean Marshal, just to keep the pressure on Aaron. Predictably, Aaron fills out the rest of his Easterling phalanx with Amdor and his warband. Aaron wants to keep his models as close together as possible and as close to Louis to make the most of Rutabi's Master of Battle and Amdor's banner effects. Louis drops his other lone Númenórean Marshal, and now Aaron only has Khamul and his Khandish contingent to deploy.
Have you ever cooked a fried egg on the frying pan? On like hot heat? And then squished it with your spatula? It sounds like a Ringwraith scream. So,
what's that? Do what?
I was making a fried egg sandwich the other day, and I squished it to get the bubbles out, and it goes like...
I am no man.
Louis had been waiting for Aaron to deploy his Khamul before he placed Shelob. She's strength 7 and so will benefit from her monstrous charge against the Fellbeast and could throw it and dismount Khamul. Aaron then does something unexpected and deploys the rest of his army, his Khandish contingent with all the bows, behind his line. It's actually a really good move though. It means he won't be restricted to one side of the board and can spread out to give counter cavalry wherever he needs it. With Aaron's whole army now deployed, Louis drops his remaining 2 warbands, his leader, the Witch King, and the Dark Marshal with their knights. He decides to match up front on to Aaron's phalanx. I think using Shelob as an anchor for the left of Louis' line may have been the better option, as he could position his Fight 6 Dark Marshal in threat range of Khamul and attack the side of Aaron's army piecemeal. Aaron would then have to wheel around to engage the bulk of Louis' force, probably failing a few courage checks in the process. With our whole army being mounted and having a lot of spells, each turn's priority is a huge roll. We're slightly stuck in a difficult position. We actually want to lose priority ideally, as then Aaron won't be able to respond to our charges. Unfortunately, we win.
No heroics.
No heroics.
Woo!
And not wanting the Khandish bowman to move into range or Khamul to reposition, we charge in.
Well, I chat over that side of the table when all I did was not call a heroic action.
So I know I'm not going to call a heroic action.
Okay, so I move.
We cast a few spells on the way in. The Dark Marshal uses 2 will to try to compel Rutabi, but with no luck. The Witch King then uses 2 dice to transfix her. She resists, with 1 of the will being restored, and after a few Morgul Knights charge in, it's our Khamul's turn. After a bit of a debate about who we should target, he uses 2 dice to transfix the Dragon Knight. Our thoughts then turn to Aaron's Khamul.
Is there a way in which I can position a few Morgul Knights to stop it landing?
Yeah, definitely.
Where it can't get the angle to throw across the line?
We spread our knights out to create a no-fly zone, but Aaron counters this by attempting a 3 dice compel on one of our knights. which he fails.
Oh, he's lost 3 wills. That's 5 will down. So I assume you're going to do that and then charge into a couple, were you?
So I was going to compel him out.
Yeah.
I'm going to heroic combat with Andor and heroic strike with Khamul. Throw that guy there, having killed him with thingy, and then do Shelob.
Wow.
But and I now can't land.
Yeah.
So you've left yourself available. Khamul gets his will back for each wound he causes. Shelob has 6 wounds.
A lucky escape for us there, but then Aaron decides he's going to move his chariot to make up for it.
2 strength 4 hits on the rider. No, 2 strength 4 hits on the horse.
He organises his pike support for his phalanx and then moves his CAND to the left of our line and the unprotected objective. About half of them are able to shoot.
Just a great game, isn't it? Like,
Yeah, it's
there's in Middle Earth is a great game, like, because it's so even. Even when Aaron jumps over the model.
I was just
I went through that gap. Do you have any shooting?
No, we don't have any shooting. What have you got?
No. Oh dear. Okay, I've got this guy can see through that guy.
Yep.
Hits.
Oh no.
Up or down. It's the horse.
Fine. Oh my
horse! Okay. Move 4. I've got 4 guys that moved half into the same 2. Almost.
Oh dear.
Got the chariot.
Has he got any shooting?
At the same 2. Missed. And I've got my king at the same 2. Hits. Up or
Okay.
down. Up.
6.
No.
Miss.
You need to finish over this one.
At the start of the combat phase, it's a Morgul Knight against a couple of Easterlings, Khamul versus the Dragon Knight, Ratabi and a few Easterlings versus a Morgul Knight, the Witch King versus a couple of Easterlings, the Dark Marshal and a couple of Morgul Knights are in 1v1s, and Aaron's Khamul and Andor are facing off against 1 Morgul Knight. Before heroics are declared, Louis raises his Khamul's fight value to 6 versus the Dragon Knight, but against my advice, elects to not spend a will point with the Dark Marshal to activate his banner effect. Aaron declares a heroic combat with Andor, and we always have the opportunity to retaliate, and Aaron's looking for a free might from Ratabi's Master of Battle, so we decide to not call a heroic combat with anybody else and push the ball back into his court, and he does call a heroic combat with Ratabi. After a bit of a discussion, we decide to not call anything with the Witch King. Ratabi's well positioned to reach our banner. A heroic combat wouldn't gain us any ground and make the Witch King any more safe. In fact, if we charged in again, it would make him more vulnerable to a second combat from Ratabi, and a strike would mean Aaron would ignore the Witch King and head for the banner. By not calling anything, at least we can draw Ratabi out and save our might points.
Okay, we'll do Ratabi first.
Ratabi.
Ratabi.
Okay. Oh,
5.
Bonus.
It's only 5s. Witch King didn't strike, did he?
No.
No, so right, I'll take my terror check to charge the Witch King.
Charge the Witch King, okay.
Cool, now we do Andor.
Yep.
So Khamul gets 3 attacks on the charge. I'm not going to render anything, I'm just going to do normal attacks, which kills
Oh,
him.
the banner.
Oh, I should have attacked the horse.
Khamul gets a will point back for killing the Morgul Knight. He could, though, as Aaron just realised, have got 2 will points back had he killed the horse and the rider. As it is, though, he recovers 1 will point and then makes a terrifying looking heroic combat into the back of 2 of our Morgul Knights.
I don't really want Andor now. I sort of want Andor there, shit. He's a banner. Yeah, I want Andor.
He's not your leader, so
Yeah.
it doesn't matter too much if Shelob kills him.
So I will shield against the marshal.
Our Khamul wins combat against Aaron's Dragon Knight, but fails to inflict a wound. And then it's Ratabi versus our leader, the Witch King.
I've got 6 and Ratabi.
you go on the
4.
charge.
5.
Ratabi is the black dice.
Who's Ratabi?
6. So you can't win. But his defense is 8.
8. So 6
So-
and 6 by 4s with your Easterlings.
So not, this isn't
This is
retarded.
your Eastlings. 6 of the buffers. No wounds.
And I'll do the retarded against the Witch King.
1 wound on the Witch King.
Fate.
You want to might it or take another fate?
If I take the second fate, can I mark that first one?
No. I'm going to mark that 1 fate off for now.
Reroll.
Reroll.
I can put it.
Point of might. That point of might would have been better striking.
Are you on the team?
That wasn't great for us, but then at least the Dark Marshal makes a kill, before a couple of Morgul Knights, a Chariot and even Amdor just push each other around a bit. And then I get to roll some dice for the 2 Morgul Knights that Aaron's Khamul has flown into the back of.
3.
4! I've got a banner as well, so if he mites it, I'll ban it. I'm in the game!
I will might it.
Banner. Oh!
Unfortunately, I didn't manage to inflict a wound, but I did at least draw a might point from him. And we are actually winning now, with 3 objectives held to Aaron's 1.
We've got some Two Trees Gaming dice for our patrons we cannot wait to share. We wanted the highest quality possible, so we went to the Baron of Dice. They've got all kinds of dice for the Middle Earth range that you can buy right now. Use the link in the description, it'll help support our channel and help support the Baron. Everybody wins. Really good quality stuff. Please go check it out. Let's get back to the video and our embarrassing starter set dice.
We win priority and Aaron calls a heroic move with the Dragon Knight. We counter call with Louis' Black Numenorian Marshal, but Ratabi's Master of Battle successfully comes off, and then it's down to a roll off. We're evil, so we want to roll low, and then we'll get to move first.
Okay. Low roll requires.
Back hand roll.
Look at
What?
that. It's 5.
Okay.
Aaron charges into the Witch King with Ratabi, and the Dark Marshal with an Easterling Warrior.
It's really thinky. Really good though. Really enjoying it.
It's so thinky, it's stressful.
I don't know what I'm doing.
I'm not really helping if that helps.
Aaron's Khamul attempts a 2 dice transfix on Shelob. With his precious little will that he has left, he's now down to 5. He successfully casts on a double 6. Louis attempts to resist on 2 will and fails. Amdor then attempts to charge a pair of Morgul Knights.
Terror check for Amdor.
Oh, okay. Ooh, what's his courage? 7. It's not
5
7.
down to 4.
5 down to 4, so it'd be 2 points of will to.
Ooh,
pass
yes, this
that.
morning. You can't spend that on.
No, they're going to spend it.
I'm going to spend it.
That's a big call against a list like ours with so much magic. 4 warriors around Ratabi then fail to charge Khamul,
No.
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 before a 5th finally does, and then a 6th charges the Black Numenorian Marshal behind the Witch King. It means Ratabi will likely be in a 1-on-1 with the Witch King now, whereas if they'd have failed, she could have ended up with Khamul or a Marshal on her as well. Losing the heroic move is pretty painful with this army. We're relying on our terror, but Aaron only needs to get 1 model in, and his pikes can support and then bypass our terror.
Cool, that's my heroic move.
Oh god.
We decide to mob Aaron's Khamul while he's in our backline, but fail courage checks with all 3 of our Morgul Stalkers, and only manage to add 1 Morgul Knight to the combat. It's likely that if he kills them, he's just going to end up getting will back, and will have actually made him stronger. We charge in where we can and fail a few more courage checks to charge Aaron's Khamul before it's Aaron's move phase. He realises that our banner isn't in base contact with anyone and positions his KHAND to take a few pot shots. He charges in on our right flank and we're starting to look very outnumbered, and then it's the shoot phase.
So against the banner guy. 2 hits. Up or down. Both up. And 6.
6s. Oh.
I saw a 6.
Yeah.
Aaron's Khamul is fighting a Numenorian Marshal, 2 Stalkers and 2 Morgul Knights. He has to give up 1 will due to the Will of Evil's special rule, and he opts to spend another to increase his fight value to 6, leaving him with just 3 will remaining.
My Khamul only has 3 will left.
Oh, Jesus.
I was contemplating, this is why I was asking about.
Is that including you 1 to go up to fight?
Yeah, so he's fight 6
6,
now. Yeah.
We're actually very lucky that this Númenórean failed his courage test to charge Aaron's Khamul, as if he'd been successful, there would have been a clear path for Amdor to heroic combat into our Witch King, who surely would have died. Not only giving Aaron victory points, but giving Amdor a might back, due to blood and glory, and increasing the range of his banner thanks to his Herald of Victory rule. Our Khamul also loses a will due to his Will of Evil special rule, and chooses to spend another to go up to 2 attacks. It's worth bearing in mind that Aaron will only ever have to spend his Khamul's will to increase his fight value, as he can use the strength and attacks of his Fellbeast. Louis activates our Dark Marshal's 6-inch banner to take him down to 10 will, and then Amdor calls a heroic combat. Our Witch King declares a heroic strike, which Rutabi fails to mimic with Master of Battle, and so spends a might point to call one herself. Aaron then also calls a heroic strike with his Dragon Knight, who's facing off against one of our Númenórean marshals. Amdor cuts down the knight that he was fighting and moves into the Dark Marshal. He'll get a point of might back if you can kill him, but we pick the order of combats and we want to make the most of the Marshal's banner, so we'll be doing that combat last.
4s on the KHAND. Dead.
Our Khamul kills a Khandish warrior and recovers a point of will, and then it's the Dragon Knight versus our Númenórean marshal.
So, fight dice.
You've
for the
chosen
Dragon Knight. 6.
5.
You are defense 7, aren't you?
Yeah.
So 6.
Oh,
2 wounds at the Dragon Knight.
You take the
That's
point.
fated.
Point of might on that.
Not ideal. That's a wound, a fate, and a might point lost on one of the Númenórean marshals. Aaron's Khamul's up next, and it'll be a big kill for us if we can bring him down.
6.
Oh.
Can't win.
So do this guy first. Dead.
1, yeah.
That guy next.
Dead.
Dead. And I'll do 2 onto the marshal. No.
Listen.
So I get 2 will back there.
Yeah. Wait.
To add insult to injury, our Númenórean marshal that was in the fight falls from his horse and takes a wound. Louis rolls a 1 for his heroic strike with the Witch King, and because Rutabi has used heroic strike, she automatically has the higher fight value.
Yeah. 6. 5.
And she wins the combat.
I took his fate off, didn't I already?
1 fate.
You've taken 1 fate
So
so
far.
I'll tell you.
Oh, you would have killed the horse.
That was a lucky escape. 1 Morgul Knight kills an Easterling, and then 3 lose their dual rolls but aren't killed. Before a Khandish horseman dies and the chariot loses combat. The Dark Marshal loses combat to Amdor's roll of a 5,
5.
but his banner effect only works on warriors, so he can't re-roll and he has to take the hits.
So
6s. 1
1
wound.
wound. Hold on. No, I've only got 1 point to my left, so just 1 wound.
2.
Failed.
Come on.
Yes.
We're okay.
Amdor wounds him once and he fails his first fate on the roll of a 2 before passing his second.
Where is he?
Where is he?
2.
6.
We call a heroic move with the Dark Marshal, but Aaron was very deliberate about his placement of Rutabi at the start of the game, and it's really paying off.
Rutabe is 3+. So she gets 3 heroic.
Yeah. Big roll of them.
Yeah. I saw it.
No matter how much Lou stretches the tape measure, Shelob is just out of range of the heroic move.
You can tell when
You
you
just-
do that, he's not in.
Me and Louis decide that Aaron's heroes are the problem. Their high courage and fight values are negating the best part of the Morgul Knights, so after a bit of a debate, we used 3 of the Dark Marshal's will to compel Amdor.
What do you need on this?
We're compelling to a 4.
4.
Good up on a 4.
I'll resist that with my 1 dice. 4. Resisted.
Aaron resisting has thrown our plans into disarray. We had a spell for Rutabi and 1 for his Khamul as well, and now one of them is going to have to be left. The Witch King throws a 2 dice transfix at Aaron's Khamul, failing with the roll of a 1 and a 2, and then another 2 on the re-roll.
This is going to be a long night.
He moves into Rutabi for an inevitable strike-off, and then our last spellcaster, our Khamul, tries to transfix Rutabi to prevent that strike-off.
Yeah.
2
Down to, that's down to
Rutabi. 4 plus required. 5.
6.
Oh!
I've done that twice now as well.
We were so unlucky with our spellcasters there, and Ratabi's still got another will point left to resist now. Our Khamul charges into Aaron's Dragon Knight, and we finish our heroic move by charging in where we can, tagging Amdor but leaving enough space for Shelob to charge him should Aaron fail a few courage checks. Aaron starts his move with his 2 chariots.
What's your defense? 7.
Yeah.
So on the rider, no wounds. On the horse, no wounds.
Armoured horse.
So I'm just going to go hit the first one. So on the rider,
No.
On the horse,
That was the break
No.
that we needed.
just hit him.
Those chariots could have run riot. He passes most of his courage checks, including to charge Khamul, but he does fail to charge Shelob, who will now be free to move.
You know what? Still conceding does not work if you fail your courage check to charge Khamul.
He also wheels his Khandish horsemen around to give them a clear shot at the Morgul stalkers.
Can't get through the trees.
Would there be also like leg on the front of her? Like, I'm gonna do that. That's a bit-
I'm going to charge Khamul.
Yeah, do go for it.
On our move, Louis fails 3 courage checks to charge Aaron's Khamul, and it leaves us dangerously exposed to his Khandish bows.
Oh no. Oh, there's some cannon fodder down there.
Did it all just fail?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh. I'll leave for 1 minute.
No.
3 hits. 4 hits. 4 hits. 5s. 1 dead. 1 dead.
Yes.
Both Khamuls lose 2 will by raising their fight values to 6, and the Witch King and Dark Marshal also lose a will each for being in combat. The Witch King uses Heroic Strike against Rutabi.
Gonna strike with the Witch
So
King.
is that his last point of might?
Yep.
Master of battle. Pass.
That will be a big strike off. And then Amdor strikes against Shelob, which isn't good for us, but she can take a hit at least. We are up on the might game, which is super important for spellcasters and cavalry, but it might be a bit too late. We start the fights with Aaron's Khamul.
6. 4. I'm going to barge.
You're at 3 inches.
Oh, balls. I'm just thinking about wounds and stuff, except like,
Yeah, to get you killed.
I don't know whether I like did him instead, like save the chariot and take the might away and stuff, but the banner's worth it, so we'll do the banner first.
You pick the order then, yep.
Banner
Banner,
first.
go on then. Come on.
6. I'm going to do the horse first.
Okay.
1 wound on the horse. That gets me a will point back.
No, it's not going to kill him. Ah.
That's 2 will points.
That was well played though.
We've just lost our banner and given Aaron's Khamul 2 will points back. Not good. Aaron's chariot that charged our Black Numenorian Marshal doesn't receive his monstrous charge bonus, as he's actually a lower strength than us, but we fail to make him pay and only hit the bulwark of the chariot, causing 1 wound. Next, it's our Khamul, who's charged into a Dragon Knight, an Easterling, a Khandish warrior, and of course, a load of pikes.
Sorry, Dragon Knight. 200 X.
Need a 6, so you've got to hold that objective.
1 and there's something else.
6.
Oh, is it 6?
Aaron's Dragon Knight has a special rule that lets him avoid being knocked prone on the roll of a 4+, which he successfully makes. We decide to not direct our attacks at him then, as we wouldn't double the strikes, and we manage to kill a Khandish warrior. Not too bad from Khamul there, who's regained a point of will, but now it's the big one, the Witch King against Rutabi.
Rutabi,
So
Witch
charge
King.
up to... the exact same.
So I'll find out. I've got the high value. Rutabe gets.
Okay, go on. Oh, she's got a 6.
What's the Witch King's again?
1 6 is. He's got 2 fate.
So 2 fates still.
Still got 2 fate. No might.
Nice one, Witch King. No.
No wounds.
Need to get him trapped.
That's going to use Rutabi's last might, hopefully. Oh no, she doesn't need to, because.
Master of battle.
Well, yeah, but you got a high fight value and we've got no might, so you don't really
Oh, so we need to.
A Morgul Knight and an Easterling die, and then it's the other big combat of the turn.
So we've got Amdor, what is it? Amdor versus Shelob and 2 Morgul Knights. If Shelob can get a kill here, we're actually back in the game. Aaron's really running out of might, but we're very much not winning at the moment. Come on, Aaron, set us a target
on direct strike.
Oh.
Is 10.
Okay, you need to just fluffy dice here.
5.
Come on, Shelob. 6s. Oh, it's 3 6s.
Banner.
Oh!
What do I need to? She's kind of 7, isn't she? So 6 on Shelob. I'm actually going to kill the 2 Morgul Knights.
Yeah, that's the right play. Oh, that is absolutely gutting.
Oh, what's that?
They're dead.
He must be dead.
They must be dead.
Let me have him back. So 2 more broken now.
You killed 7 of mine, so if you kill 12 more.
Oh my god.
It's not going well. We're 2 models off being broken, but need to kill 12 more to break Aaron.
5.
4.
He wins priority for the next turn, and we call a heroic move with a Black Numenorian Marshal.
That guy over there, Master of Battle, Rutabe, passed.
But Rutabi's Master of Battle is successful again and leaves us with another big roll-off.
Wait, isn't it?
There we go.
You.
We get it.
That was a win we really needed. We charge into Aaron's Khamul to keep him tied up away from the action, and then have a little debate about whether we should attempt a cheeky black dart on Aaron's leader for some victory points, but instead opt to target Rutabi and Amdor. Khamul uses 2 of his precious will to successfully immobilize Amdor.
6. No will.
Whatever.
That's great, but accounting for the will that is lost for participating in the combat, he'll only have 1 will point left at the end of the turn. The Witch King uses 2 will to immobilize Rutabi, who fails to resist with her last will, and the Dark Marshal immobilizes Aaron's Khamul to prevent any heroic combats or barges that he might have been planning.
Resist
I'll
that?
do 2 to resist that.
He's failed on
No,
2, so that's
failed.
great.
He fails to resist using 2 will, and now he's also dangerously close to disappearing. This is the turn that we needed. Hero-wise, Aaron now only has his Dragon Knight and his leader, the Khandish King, to move. It's all starting to look like we might be able to fight our way out of this when Aaron moves his chariot.
First one. Dead.
He's dead. On to the next one.
Dead.
That's Lewis broken.
What strength is it?
You're broken.
4.
So he's done. So I've got another turn.
Oh, come on.
Wait,
Go.
He kills 2 Morgul Knights, which breaks us, as well as one of his own KHAND, before he realises he can't reach Shelob without hitting Amdor and decides to stop where he is. But that is us broken.
Amdor. No, hold on.
Amdor.
Yeah,
Well,
I'm
Amdor.
not going to do it, am I? I'm not going to do it, am I?
Aaron's shooting kills a Morgul Stalker, and with might so precious and the bulk of Aaron's heroes immobilised, neither force calls any heroic actions for the combat phase. A Black Numenorian Marshal dies to a chariot, and our Khamul loses both fate to Aaron's Dragon Knight. A Morgul Knight dies to some Easterlings, and then it's on to Aaron's Khamul. We win combat but fail to make any wounds, and the Witch King does the same in his combat. Shelob, though, loses combat to Amdor, but luckily he can't strike because he's immobilised. We've failed to capitalise on our good spellcasting, and now we're broken for the start of the following turn. To have any chance of winning, we simply have to win priority and hope our cavalry charge wreaks havoc.
2. 5.
No, we've got to call it.
Obviously we lost the roll, and then Rutabi's Master of Battle comes off, and she has been such a good model for Aaron. Aaron tags the objectives that he can reach and successfully charges into all of our spellcasters, saving his leader from a couple of black darts that may have earned us a victory point. Our Khamul loses his last will point by losing combat to the Dragon Knight and disappears with a point of unspent might. Before Aaron's Khamul shows that fell beasts are a lot better than horses and kills our Dark Marshal.
1 win on the Dark Marshal, which gets me that. As long as he's got fate.
The Dark Marshal, he's dead.
wait. Get my little point back.
Sorry.
Oh, I should have barged to take the middle one.
Oh, horrible.
Well, I can stop the game ending.
Let's get the 12 mil.
What Aaron's just realised there is that the game ends on the roll of a 1 or a 2 at the end of the turn, but his Easterling army bonus allows him to re-roll that dice if he'd like to. That would almost definitely let him cement a 12-0 victory. The last combat of any significance sees our Witch King in combat against Amdur.
6 with the Witch King.
Wait, how many dice did you roll? Oh, yeah.
Maybe you got a bit greedy.
Oh, I'm under.
Oh, I've got a banner. I've got a banner. Ooh,
It was
2
too
wounds.
late for that banner.
I'll just take the wounds.
You just take the wins.
Great. I've only got one. Sorry, fine.
I ignore the win. Yeah. He's not even my leader.
Shelob makes her first kill of the game against the chariot, and then Aaron rolls to see if the game ends.
2.
Hey!
I'm gonna re-roll that. 'Cause
We don't even humour his suggestion that the game carries on.
Oh dear. So how many models do we have left at the end? It's not we. It wasn't we. I said we. It's not we. How many models did Louis have left at the end? 1, 2, 3, 4. No, he could have got tabled. You don't see that often.
Subscribe if you'd like to see how Louis and Aaron both get on with these armies at Throne of Skulls at Warhammer World.
You'll have a...
okay, fine.
Perfect. That's it. That's the end.
Final score was 9-2 to Aaron. He controlled 4 of the objectives and brokers. We controlled the central objective, and because we refused to play on for another turn, it ended up being 9-2 instead of 12-0.
Thank you so much for watching. Please do subscribe if you enjoyed it. We're going to have lots of similar content coming up soon. And thank you to our Patreons, our wizards. Our Patreon dice have arrived here at Two Trees Gaming HQ. I'll put that in the Patreon chat soon. If you do want to support the channel anyway, please join in with the wizards. You can have entrance to the arena and lots of different benefits as well. It really would mean a lot to us. But for now, thank you for watching. Hopefully we'll see you again soon. Yeah. Yeah.
You're gonna leave the end of it.
Wipe his bottom, Daddy.
I'm coming.
Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed that, please consider subscribing to the channel and help us in our quest to become the home of Middle-earth strategy battle game content on YouTube. And why not follow us on Instagram for sneak peeks behind the scenes, or join us on Patreon to help contribute to future content. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you again soon.